Well, Coach, we're back. It's exciting. It's new. There are pads on.
It's unbelievable. It's here. You know what I mean? Like football season's
Pads.
here. It's exciting time.
Jim Gazzolo, Heath, Schroyer. We had pads on Monday morning. We had fights on Monday morning. We had punishment on Monday morning. Football's here.
I love it.
Little
Isn't it
hot
great?
still, but it's here.
Yeah, well, that's part of it. But you know what? Look, when you train in the heat, it does bring some mental toughness. But we're very careful. We're obviously going into mornings. We kind of take a halftime break, make sure our kids are hydrated. Our training staff is doing a phenomenal job. But you're right. It's an exciting time. I just love this time of year.
Well, it just feels like this. I like this time of year, and I love spring because of the same reasons. You're starting fresh, new big
Right.
sports. Basketball gets a little put aside because you are bleeding one sport and the other. It doesn't get
Right.
its ramp up. But you have basketball coming up September 21st, a dinner here, don't you?
We do. We have basketball's having a tip-off dinner, kind of like to kick off the basketball season and all that. It's going to be right here.
What are you serving?
September 21st. I'm not sure because obviously the basketball program is putting this on, but I think Cousins is going to be the one that's going to cater it. But it'll be a great time. Be tables. If you want a table, contact
there we go.
the basketball office.
I didn't even
because
see that one. I didn't even see that one coming.
There are a few tables left.
But you have a lot of things going on.
For sure. There's a lot. It's a lot.
Okay, we sit here every week and we joke about you're going to play, and I didn't see this coming. I did not see basically the end of the Pac-12 as we know it.
Yep.
I did not see all these possible movements. Any direction possible at this point? Every direction possible?
I mean, it's so fluid right now. I mean, you read different articles and you talk to different people across the industry, and I mean, it changes by the hour. I mean, as soon as this show's over, don't know. You know what I mean? It's just, but it's so fluid right now, and I think that the shuffling of the chairs. I mean, it's going to continue here for a while.
Can we at least start changing some conference names to equal the numbers that are in them?
Like the Big Ten going to the Big 20?
Well, at one point we had the Big Ten had 12 and the Big 12 had 10.
Correct.
So we could have just flopped. Now the Big Ten is actually the big
That's
and
true.
waiting to go.
That's true.
The Pac-12 is now the Pac-2 as of today.
4, I think, still, but it's going to be really interesting. We talked about it before we got on the air, but it's going to come down to what does the Pac-12, those 4 teams do? Do they hang tight, Washington State, Oregon State, Cal, and Stanford, and go raid the Mountain West? And maybe bring Gonzaga in as a basketball-only affiliate? Like, what do they do? And then once that's determined, that's when everyone else will have to figure out where they want to go. Because if they do raid the Mountain West, then the Mountain West has to go, raid somebody else. And maybe that's the Montanas, maybe that's the Dakotas, maybe that's New Mexico State and UTEP. And then, where do they go? That's right. It's musical chairs at that point.
And what about the WAC? And what about Conference USA? And what about, does somebody like SMU want to jump into a bigger league all of a sudden?
Well, I think that anytime you're talking about the amount of money that is thrown, the TV revenue and the TV packages at these institutions, everyone's going to go. I mean, who would have thought UCLA and USC? I mean, you're talking about Los Angeles, California, joining the Big Ten, right? I mean, like, that would have never happened. Never even thought about 5 years from now.
Well, here's the strange thing is, Matt Bonnet said this earlier today. He said he heard, your guy Matt Bonnet, that it could be where a UCLA track and field team playing at Northwestern would share a flight with a USC golf team or something to go to Chicago to play in the Midwest too.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And, the thing is like, is it really good for student athletes?
There's my question.
I'm not sold that, UCLA, taking their tennis team all the way over to New Jersey to play, is really benefiting the student athlete experience. But
is that a product of the online? I mean, does this make it easier for people to say, well, we've learned how to do it online?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And then I think that, again, when you're talking about 50 to $60 million a year from TV revenue. Now, do those teams just get on charters and go? You have no. It's just such a different world. But again, we've said it here too, Jim. If you're not willing to adapt and you're not willing to change, you will be left behind. We've changed a lot of things. We're going to change some more things. Adapt.
And I guess you can't say this, but it looks like the NCAA has no power to stop any of this.
It's really, I will tell you, it's interesting what role they're going to take moving forward, because obviously, with the football championship, they don't have no piece of the pie of that.
No.
That's all.
And that's what's
FBS,
driving all this.
100%.
This is a network run.
Exactly right.
Okay, we're going to do things a little differently today on Poke Nation. When we come back, you're actually going to see an interview with Trey Simmons, one of the two quarterbacks fighting for the starting job. After Trey's, stay tuned on Poke Nation for those.
Interact.
What are your thoughts on the competition itself and where you are with this offense?
Well, this competition going pretty well. We come compete every day. Our coach gets us all going, and we just compete and make each other better every day in the room. Every quarterback in the room. It's one specific quarterback. It's all quarterbacks making each other better every day. And we're getting better together as this offense is one. We're learning by the day. We're getting better by the day. We make a mistake, we correct it the next day. So we're just improving as a room, and that's really the good thing I like about our program right now.
What's been the biggest change for you coming from a Division II? You're moving up. What's been the biggest difference?
I can really say the speed, just getting adjusted with everything, more being quicker on my footwork, my reads, just grasping the whole offense and everything. This is my first time being in Division I offense, so I had to adapt coming from the spring. So I've been adapting. It's been pretty good. We all been adapting. It's all pretty good.
That phrase dual threat seems to apply to you. He's used it several times, maybe more than several times. How do you temper that and making sure that the read is there in the decision instead of just tuck it and run?
We have reads. Our coach News and Coach Golf get on us about reads every day. Seeing our reads. We got playmakers, so taking off running not really my thing. I like to get my playmakers the ball. We all like to get our playmakers the ball in open space and make plays. So before I take off and run, I try to get them a chance to shine, because we're all an offense and we're all one, and we all need to shine together as one.
Seems like you've been a very vocal guy all throughout the summer so far. Is that just something you take upon yourself to try to get all the guys going?
Yeah, sir. I'm more of a laid-back guy, so me being vocal is kind of something I'm getting used to, especially coming from a new school, there's new faces around, so I like to have my voice heard from, especially being a quarterback, so that's something I have took upon by myself this summer, to be more vocal, let everyone around hear me and hear each other, really. That's good.
Do you sense the difference between your style and his style, because you can do the two threats and you bring a different element?
I don't see really no difference. We both can really do the same thing. We both very, very elite quarterbacks. We both can make throws. We both can run. We're both pretty good. And he's a pretty quick quarterback. He made me come to work every day. I make him come to work every day, and that's what competition breeds. So we're going to keep pushing each other every day and keep making each other great.
Offensive production last year was at times very inconsistent, very subpar. How much weight are you and the other quarterbacks feeling in regards to, you really got to up the ante here to get this offense moving quickly?
I don't really see nothing I see a lot of weight, It comes down to just, knowing your reads, knowing your personnel, knowing your progressions, everything. And that's something our coach preaches us every day in meetings, and that's something we live by every day, so we could go out here and execute every day on a high level to be great.
Is this the type of offense you kind of like being in?
Yes, I love this type of offense. This is my style of play. This is all our style of plays in a way, too. So seeing Coach Goff utilizing us in different ways to make us great is good. He can put us in certain packages to make people stand out in a certain way. So that's something I really like in this offense.
He emphasizes you've got to eliminate turnovers.
Yes, sir.
What's the key to that?
Just protecting the ball, knowing your assignment. And if something gets stuck, you can throw it or throw it away. That's something we have been practicing, eliminating turnovers, because that will lose you ball games. So we just been keeping the ball in our hands and away from the defenses as much as possible.
Is it an interesting thing to see so many new receivers and so many different receivers and so many options?
Yes, it is, because all of them have a different style of play and a different flavor of what they do. So being around different people from different places, they just have a different flavor, and that's pretty cool, because you never know what one person could do or another person could do, and that's what makes us so dynamic, because everybody can do different things at an elite level, so that's good.
It does seem like the chemistry between the receivers and the quarterbacks are getting better, but obviously you're starting to get limited time at this point because you're only a few weeks away from Tarleton State. What do you think are the most important things here as you head through the last few weeks of practice here before the season starts?
Just executing every opportunity we get each time we go out. Because we are getting limited time, it's first game's about to come up, so it's about to come down to crunch time. So we just got to execute every opportunity we get and just capitalize as an offense.
Assess the offensive line play. I know it's one day in pads, but
I love our offensive line. They come and bring it every day. Coach Allgood is doing very good with them, keeping them going. So they come out ones, twos, no matter what, and fight every day. And I love to go to war with those guys because they come to work for us. So I love that. I just love all them guys.
yeah. Fair or not, an off-season conversation with the new offensive coordinator said, in his opinion, the majority of sacks are the quarterback's problem, and he's an offensive coordinator. Fair? Would you say a lot of the sacks could be quarterbacks' problems?
Yes, because our O-line gets great pass pro a lot of the time. So if we get sacked, majority of the time I'll take it upon ourselves, because we're holding the ball too long or we got a hot route. So if anything like that, if it's too long, we'll take responsibility as quarterbacks on our sacks because a lot of the times our O-line give us great pass pro.
Now we're going to go to Nick Glantz from Iowa State, a transfer coming down from FBS, and his journey to McNeese in the quarterback position.
You prefer coming into a camp like this having to compete for the job, or would you rather already be assigned and designed as a starter?
Oh man, my whole life I've been competing. High school, I competed my whole life. I left schools because I was told I wasn't a quarterback. Turned around, won a state championship, and beat my old school. I then, because of having to go my senior year after winning a state title, I didn't have a lot of looks, just PWOs, so I went into a junior college, Iowa Western, the best JUCO in the country. Had to beat out 8 quarterbacks, transfers from LSU, Bethune-Cookman, all over the place. So competition has always been in my blood. It's something that, my dad has always had, me and my little brother excited for. And I think coming in, I didn't care who was in the QB room because I know who I am as a person. I know that at the end of the day, I just want to win. And my whole life I've been competing and proving everybody wrong.
Seems like you got a lot of options to go to at receiver. How has the relationship been building with those types of guys?
Yeah, it's been amazing. Coming in, transferring into January, my first day on campus, I got a group chat, got all the receivers in a group chat, and we started throwing, the first day I was here, and then continuing to throw twice a week. And then next thing you know, spring ball comes, the connection's good. And then summertime, I made sure every guy was there at 10 a.m. Saturday morning, and we started throwing every single Saturday. And I think that connection, I've only known these guys for, less than 6 months, if not that. And so I think just continue to learn these guys, figure out how to get on the same page with them with specific plays. And at the end of the day, just build relationships off the field. Figure out who they are as a person, what they like, and then offensively, what do they like in the offense? And I think it's been really well, slowly just stacking days and continuing to work with them.
What's your journey been to get here? Trey's going up, you're coming down from FBS. What's that like?
It's been a blessing, I think, because at the end of the day, you always want to bet on yourself. And I've always remained, humble and hungry. Obviously transferred from Iowa State. I had options, to go to other schools, but I wanted to find just the best fit for me. So at the end of the day, I didn't really care what, conference or division it was. I just wanted to play football, have fun, and bring Nate Glantz to, the table. And I think coming down from Iowa State, I've learned a ton up there, obviously, and being at, the best JUCO in the country, and obviously one of the best high schools, if not the best high school in Nebraska. It's just been a journey my whole life. This will be my 4th offense in 4 years, and my 4th different state in 4 years, and it's just the journey itself has taught me so much. This last year I've really learn perspective and be where your feet are and understand that everything happens for a reason. And I'm here in Lake Charles, Louisiana for a reason. So this journey has been nothing but incredible, and I'm truly blessed to be here.
Was this playbook and this offensive style, that's what landed you here?
Exactly. The connection with Coach Neugebauer and Coach Goff, knowing what they did together as coaches, and Coach Nuges being his player, and then seeing that they're an air raid team. My dad played for Nebraska in the 90s, so I actually was able to watch McNeese play Nebraska back in the day. I was at the game, and so I've known of McNeese, and I knew that they used to run this conference. And so coming in, knowing that it was an air raid offense, what quarterback doesn't love that? And so that's what I ran in high school and JUCO. And Iowa State does a very similar style, but more NFL. So coming here, it lights your eyes up as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Trey thinks to see highly of the relationship you two have so far. What has it been like just to work with him every day? I know it's a competition, but it really seems like you guys have a offseason as well.
Yeah, that's with every quarterback. I mean, that room, we try to keep it very positive and tight because at the end of the day, everybody looks to us, And being a captain, I got to make sure that I'm holding that room accountable and making sure that they are looking to me. And I have to set the standard every day. You can't come in and slack off. You have to be accountable. And, if you're going to live by the standard, you got to be the standard. So I think just that whole quarterback as a whole, it's just been really cool. I've met a lot of quarterbacks in my day, throughout this journey. And, I think just the quarterback room, we're very close and we all wish each other the best. And it's really a positive thing, especially for this program that wants to win right now.
Does it help being a new quarterback in a situation with 56 other new players? Everybody's on the same page?
I mean, think about it. And you got a roster of about 200, and every kid's new. Every kid came in. Everyone's from all over the country. So I think for me, I'm used to it. You got to come in. You got to learn different backgrounds, learn what they like, and then obviously get on the same page, see what offensive they've ran and, past seasons, and just understand that at the end of the day, the main goal is to win. That's our mission. So I think for me, I've been very blessed and fortunate to have this situation coming in with all these new kids and transfers that's how it was at JUCO. And, that it's really helped me.
One thing that lacked in this offense last year was big plays.
Mm-hmm.
Has Coach talked to you about getting your shots and making sure big plays don't lead to turnovers, but taking your shot when you get it?
100%. I mean, when they looked at my film and recruited me, I'm well known for those big plays, and that's something that I want to bring to this offense. And whether it's the running back doing it, the receivers, but at the end of the day, I always feel confident with the ball in my hand. And I know, watching every game, I've watched so much, so many hours of film that we need those big plays to win. Everyone does. You see Patrick Mahomes every week, the Chiefs getting big plays, and that's kind of what we want to style our offense to do those big plays, because at the end of the day, one play changes the whole game, and every play matters. So that's something that, looking in film, 100%, the big plays are huge in this offense.
You're following up an offense that was pretty inept at times last year.
Yes, sir.
How much weight are you feeling? You in particular, as a captain of this team
Yes,
and
sir.
leader of this offense, to really direct and drive this offense this year. How much weight? If you want to say pressure, we'll say pressure.
At the end of the day, it's football. You're going to have to go out there, complete your X's and O's, and just you got to look at it as too much, because at the end of the day, if you think it's too much pressure, it'll start feeding into you. And I think really you just got to understand that go 1-0 every week. You complete your plays, you go over your script. We do all these practices, meetings to go out there on game day and really have fun. And if people think it's weight on the shoulders, I love it. I want that. I want to be able to feel that, because really we just need to get the win. And I think a lot of people could feel like, hey, a quarterback's coming in, there could be weight on his shoulders. But at the end of the day, it's about the team. It's not about one person. It's weight on everyone's shoulders, because at the end of the day, this program needs to turn around. We're here to win now. So it's not about one single person.
Last one I had for you was just the fans are a huge part of this
Yes, sir.
community. And I just want to ask you kind of what's one thing you'd like to say about yourself to those people, as you're only 3 weeks away now from the season
Yes, sir.
starting. What do you want them to kind of know about yourself?
Yeah, growing up in the Husker fan base, they're crazy as well. And that's something that, as I've come to Lake Charles, I've already had a chance to interact with some of these people and fans, and they've been nothing but amazing. And I just want them to know that we're here to win now. And at the end of the day, this whole program is bought in, and we just want to win. And it's not about one single person, but I want them to know that we're all motivated. And we've been going at this thing since January 5th. When the national championship and the Jacks held up that title, we were watching the game, we were hungry. That next morning, we had a 5 a.m., and we were hungry. And so I just hope they know that we're humble, hungry, and motivated to just come and turn this place around.
A couple of interesting guys battling for a starting job.
Yep.
Either way, you're in better hands, I think, than last year. One thing is they're both healthy.
Yes, for sure. I think both of them have, first of all, both of them really represent themselves really
Yeah.
well. They're great young men, and it's going to be really interesting. It's going to come right down to the wire, I think, and it's going to be a really tough call for coach to name a starter. I think both of them are going to play. And hey, it's a long year, so you never know.
You had 4 quarterbacks last year. You can never have too many good players.
No question.
But the one thing that is going to be decided, so people know that, 10 o'clock on Saturday, I think if the weather still holds, it'll still be 10 o'clock. You'll have your first scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll start to see just what we have in those 2 scrimmages.
I think so too. I mean, I think that the early scrimmages are are always good for coaches. I mean, obviously I coached for a long time. You get to really get a sense of where you're at, and I'm looking forward to Saturday at 10. That's for sure.
Okay, you are a coach of basketball,
Yeah.
not football, so you
Right.
didn't have to deal with quarterbacks. But you had to deal with basically the equivalent, the point guard.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want out of a leadership position? Because the quarterback is the point guard.
Right. You know, I always wanted someone that could obviously make plays, could run a team. But I think the biggest thing that I look for is that when you're in a huddle at the free throw line, and obviously in football you huddle, you know, every play, is that you want those guys to look at that quarterback and just believe that no matter what, we're going to figure this out.
He's our guy.
He's our guy, and he's got the answers, and let's go. That it factor, if you will, you either have it or you don't. And I think that as a quarterback, a leader, you want someone that has that it factor. I think that is above all the most important thing.
Yeah, so somebody that is accountable
Mm-hmm.
and responsible.
100%.
So yeah, I think that's what that may determine it. Also, how you work with certain players. It's just there's a lot of nuances. But like we saw last year, I keep telling people. Remember last year we had one quarterback named starter on Tuesday, flipped by Thursday.
That's right.
I don't think you'll see that this time, because that was a guy who lost the job at that in
Right.
those 2 days.
Right.
But what I think you'll see is you'll see a package for both kids at certain times.
I do too. I think that both of them will play, but they're both very, very unique. Both of them have different skill sets that I think can help a team win, and I think both of them are committed to helping McNeese win. And I think I'm looking forward to us making a big step this year.
And don't sleep on Six Killer.
I know that young kid can throw that
If
thing.
for nothing else, it's because his name is Six Killer and he wears number 6. So
I
it's
love
easy
it.
to remember.
I love it.
Volleyball comes to camp on Monday.
Yep.
Now
It's,
you got everything going.
For sure. I mean, soccer's up and running. Volleyball starts on Monday. It's exciting time. I mean, I think that both of those teams are going to compete for championships. That's our expectation. And Sasha's back for year 2, and we finished second last year, and hopefully we can figure out a way to bring home the hardware.
The big announcement last week from the conference is you're going to have a basketball in-person media day.
Yeah.
It's going to be in the Lake Charles area, but nobody will tell me where.
I don't know either. I'm not sure either, but I think it's good. I think that obviously we're hosting the tournament, so having an in-person media day to me only makes sense because
Yeah.
you can start to promote the tournament right away.
Well, it gets, and that's one thing is that hurt last year is there was no promotion of the league all year.
Absolutely.
So that when McNeese was eventually knocked out, what was driving people back into the market,
Exactly
back into
right.
the stadium?
100%.
They've got to do a better. To me, they've got to do a better job promoting the conference.
And I think they will. I think that those are things that, this is the first year that they had it here. Obviously, we did a 360 meeting afterwards of what it could be better. I really look for the next, few years down the road for this to really be an event. I'm really looking forward to it. I think that the league has learned a lot, and I think the league will do a much better job promoting it.
I want to ask you about the ESPN streaming. How long is that contract? Do you know?
It's up in 25.
25? So, do you like the streaming? Because it does get you out there, but there are some fallbacks to it.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings on our whole ESPN Plus package.
You'd like to take over more of your own production.
100%. I want to do, like everything else, I want to have my hands in it and control it, just because I think that we can do some things that haven't been done. I don't like to have limitations put on us, and I think this package sometimes, put some roadblocks that makes it kind of hard to do.
Yeah,
some things.
it's an interesting package, but it's also it falls to the least common denominator of the conference.
Right. Agreed.
And so you could have very good production, and you could have very bad production, all
Absolutely.
within to a fan base in 2 weeks. 'cause the boards play
100%.
that.
Exactly right.
I wouldn't. I got your back. I'll say the things you can't say but want to say. How's that? All right. So what do we expect next this week? You gonna announce anything? You going anywhere? You got a new conference? You got a new car?
No,
What's going on?
I got nothing right now. I'm just getting ready for football and getting ready for the scrimmage on Saturday. But obviously, I keep my my nose and ear to the grindstone, and
You text a lot of people, though.
we do. I communicate a lot all day with people all across the country.
Don't forget to watch Sound Off 60 on CBS as well. We'll see you next week on Poke Nation.